The cantina on Station Epsilon 7 reeked of sulfur and fermented algae, a combination that would have killed most oxygen breathers. But Fiza had long since adapted to worse. She sat in the corner booth, her dark eyes scanning the crowd of alien mercenaries, traitors, and criminals that populated this forgotten outpost at the edge of the Andromeda Passage. Across from her sat Jalcax, a Vortan war chief whose reputation preceded him like a shockwave. His forearms were covered in scars, each one representing a species he'd conquered. His mandibles clicked with satisfaction as he pushed a data tablet across the table. "The contract is simple, human," Jalcax hissed, his translator device struggling to convert his clicking language. "A colony ship, defenseless, filled with your kind. The consortium wants them gone before they can establish territorial claims in the outer reach. Clean work. High pay." Fiza didn't touch the tablet. She took a slow sip of her drink, letting the silence stretch between them. Finally, she spoke. "You're making a mistake." Jalcax's eyes, all 6 of them, narrowed. "Excuse me? I said you're making a mistake," Fiza repeated, her voice calm but carrying an edge that made several nearby patrons turn their heads. "I warn you, Jalcax. Never hunt humans. You don't know what you're inviting." The war chief laughed, a sound like grinding metal. "You think I fear your species? I've hunted across 17 systems. I've brought down Krell battle masters and Sindari queens. What makes humans so special?" Fiza leaned forward, and for the first time, Jalcax saw something in her eyes that made his combat instincts flare. It wasn't fear or anger. It was pity. "Let me tell you a story," she said. 3 cycles ago, a crew of Raxian pirates thought humans would make easy prey. They hit a mining vessel near Titan's rings. 40 miners. No weapons. No military training. Just workers. She paused, letting the war chief's attention focus entirely on her. The Raxians boarded, expecting surrender. What they found was 40 humans who'd turned mining equipment into weapons, who'd depressurized sections to flush out the attackers, who'd fought with broken bones and punctured lungs because they refused to die quietly. By the time a patrol ship arrived, 37 of those miners were still alive. All 20 Raxian pirates were dead. Jalcax shifted uncomfortably. An anomaly. Lucky circumstances. Was it? Fiza's smile didn't reach her eyes. What about the siege of New Mombasa? A Krell armada descended on a civilian colony. They expected capitulation within hours. The siege lasted 4 months. Humans fought from the rubble of their own cities, turned children's playgrounds into defensive positions, used farming equipment to build improvised artillery. The Krell withdrew, not because they were defeated, but because the cost became unbearable. She pulled out her own data tablet, sliding it across to replace his. Images flickered across the screen. Battle reports, casualty figures, psychological assessments of alien forces who'd engaged humans. Every species in the known galaxy has a breaking point, Fiza continued. A moment when survival instinct tells them to flee. Humans have that instinct too. We just ignore it. We're the species that looked at Earth's apex predators and decided to make them into pets. We colonized a planet where everything, the weather, the wildlife, even the plants, was actively trying to kill us. And we called it home. Jalcax's mandibles twitched. He was listening now, really listening. The consortium hired you because they think humans are weak, Fiza said. Scattered, disorganized, and they're right until you threaten us. Then something changes. We don't have a hive mind like the Sindari. We don't have the combat instincts of the Vortan. What we have is worse, and what's that? The war chief asked, his voice barely a whisper. Spite. The word hung in the air like a curse. Humans will endure anything if it means denying you victory, Fiza explained. We'll fight with our last breath, not because we think we can win, but because we refuse to let you win easily. We're the species that invented the concept of a Pyrrhic victory and then forced our enemies to experience it firsthand. She stood, leaving the war chief's tablet untouched on the table. That colony ship you're hunting? It has 3,000 civilians aboard. Families, scientists, teachers. You might destroy the ship. You might even kill them all. But in the process, you'll create something far more dangerous than any weapon. What's that? Survivors. Fiza's expression hardened. And survivors tell stories. They spread the word. They make sure everyone knows what you did. And then, Jalcax, you won't just be fighting one colony ship. You'll be fighting every human who hears that story, and we number in the billions across 100 worlds. She turned to leave, then paused. Oh, and one more thing. That mining vessel I mentioned? One of those 40 miners was named Bassett, my brother. He survived with a collapsed lung and 17 broken bones. The Raxians who attacked him? They learned too late that humans are at our most dangerous when we're protecting something we love. Fiza walked away, leaving Jalcax alone with his contract and his thoughts. 3 hours later, the consortium received a message from the Vortan war chief. One word: declined. When asked why, Jalcax simply said he'd received intelligence that the contract was too costly. He didn't mention the human mercenary or her warning or the fact that, for the first time in his long career, he'd felt something he'd never experienced before when looking into her eyes. He'd felt what it was like to be prey, and deep in the black of space, the colony ship continued its journey, unaware of how close they'd come to danger, and how a single conversation had saved 3,000 lives. Because sometimes the most fearsome warrior isn't the one who fights. It's the one who knows when not to.